Good morning, everyone. Welcome to the 9th monthly web workshop on Fluke Connect. I thought I'd start off the new year with an overview of Fluke Connect, so that is our topic for today. My name is Chaun Carda. I am a Tier 2 Technical Support Engineer and the Fluke Lead. So a few housekeeping items before we begin today. The session will be recorded. Phones will be muted. Type questions at any time. Please limit questions to the topic of the session, and questions will be answered at the end of the presentation. So our agenda, or the purpose of this session, is really to introduce you to Fluke Connect. So I will start by providing you with a high-level overview of Fluke Connect. Then I will explain how Fluke Connect works. Next, I will discuss what Fluke Connect can do for you. And finally, I will answer any questions during the questions and answers section at the end of the presentation. So our first section is a high-level overview of Fluke Connect. I just want to cover a few basic facts about Fluke Connect for anyone who may be new to the software. What is Fluke Connect? At its core, Fluke Connect is a digital clipboard for measurement data taken from select Fluke tools. In other words, it's software that connects to Fluke tools to capture electronic readings and thermal images. And while it can do so much more than that, that is the foundation of what it does, so I want to start there. Here you can see on the screen that I've got the Fluke Connect mobile app loaded onto my phone here, and it is connected to my Fluke T3000 FC thermometer. And at this point, you can see that on the Fluke Connect mobile app, the reading is showing 68 degrees Fahrenheit, which is the same temperature that you can see on the Fluke Connect T3000 FC. Next, I'll show you a video of Fluke Connect in action. Don't worry about the sound. If you can't hear it, it's just the music. All the text you need to see will be on the screen. So hopefully the video gave you some insight into how Fluke Connect works and how you might be able to use it in your job. If not, we've got several more slides to go, so hopefully we can make that happen in the next 45 minutes or so. So Next thing I want to talk about is very important for you to know because the Fluke Connect software comes in 3 different tiers. This is one of the more confusing aspects of the Fluke Connect software. So here is a quick overview now, and I'll provide you much more details later. The first tier right here is Fluke Connect Measurements. So it's Fluke Connect Measurements is what it's called, which is available to all users for free. This tier enables users to capture measurements from their tools and save the data to the cloud. And in fact, every feature you just saw in the preceding video is available in the free version of the Fluke Connect software, which is again called Fluke Connect Measurements. Next, the second tier is Fluke Connect Assets, which comes with a 1-year free trial for users. So that's 1 year free trial for everyone to try it out and use, and is $250 per license per person after that. This tier includes all of the features available in the Fluke Measurements tier, but also includes the ability to manage your assets, provides you with asset health tracking, and provides you with work order management. And finally, the third or top tier is called Fluke Connect Condition Monitoring. In this tier, the first year of the software subscription is included with the purchase of the sensor or the hardware. This tier includes all of the features available in both the measurements tier and the assets tier, plus provides you with hardware and a 1-year software subscription. One other important note about the Fluke Connect software is that it works in 3 different applications. So you've got the Fluke Connect mobile app. This is the key interface for capturing measurements from the tool. You've got the Fluke Connect web app. This is the key interface or where you go to create your assets and perform analysis. And last but not least, we've got the Fluke Connect desktop app. This is the key interface for downloading thermal images and creating thermal image reports. You will see how all 3 of these applications work together when I show you the workflow in the next section of the presentation. And the great news is that you can use all 3 of these applications with the free Fluke Connect measurement tier of the software. But next, I'll give you a tiny bit of a background on how it all started. It started with the tools, the wireless tools. Fluke started looking at wireless tools way back in 1995 in response to customer requests for safe measurements, remote measurements in difficult locations, and efficient measurements that did not require multiple technicians. Around the mid-2010s, Fluke started developing wireless tools that could fulfill customers' needs, and now there are over 80 different Fluke Connect enabled tools. Fluke Connect's connection to all of the Fluke Connect tools is a major differentiator between Fluke and other sensor companies. They don't have the software to capture the data electronically like Fluke does. Those 80 different Fluke Connect enabled tools work in 11 different tool categories, including digital multimeters, clamp meters, installation testers, vibration meters, scope meters, process meters, thermometers, insulation testers, infrared cameras, power loggers, and power quality monitors. Now, the easiest way to tell if a tool will work with the Fluke Connect software is if it has the letters FC, like Frank Charlie, in the model name. So the 376 FC clamp meter, 1664 FC installation tester, T3000 FC temperature module, all would be Fluke Connect enabled. The only exception to the FC model name is our suite of infrared cameras. Most of them do in fact work with the Fluke Connect software and do not include FC in the model name. And the Fluke Connect software is available in 73 different countries. So here's the list of all of the Fluke Connect enabled tools for your reference. But remember, any tool with the letters FC in the model name will work with the Fluke Connect software. So if you're going out to purchase a new clamp meter or a new multimeter or maybe an energy logger, just be sure to check for the FC in the model name to verify that the product will in fact work with the Fluke Connect software. Okay, Our next section is how does Fluke Connect work? I'll start with an overview of how the data flows through the various systems, and then I'll have screenshots to simulate the Fluke Connect workflow from within the software. So here's an overall flow of how the data is stored and moved through the various systems. So we start with number 1. Let's say you have an intermittent blower motor problem with the rooftop HVAC package unit. So in step number 2, you've gone back to the office and grabbed your 376 FC clamp meter to help diagnose the issue, and you connect it to the blower motor so that you can get readings off of that piece of equipment. Now, your 376 FC clamp meter will communicate with the Fluke Connect mobile app via a Bluetooth connection. And if the cell phone is out of range, the data will be stored on the phone until it reconnects to a cell signal or a Wi-Fi signal. So the data that you capture from taking the readings on the motor here will be stored on the phone until your phone can connect to either a cell signal or a Wi-Fi signal, at which time we move on to step number 3, where the data from the phone is uploaded to the Fluke Connect cloud, and it's stored in your account in the Fluke Connect cloud. Then in step number 4, once that data is available in the cloud, you can view it remotely from any web-enabled device. So the mobile app, the web app, or the desktop app. So now I'll go through and show you the flow step by step, starting with the mobile app. So here's a close-up shot of what the Fluke Connect mobile app looks like. This is the home page. Next to the number 1, here you see connect and capture measurements. This is where you go when you want to connect your Fluke Connect mobile app to one of the Fluke Connect enabled tools. Next to the number 2, we've got setup logging or monitoring. This area is only available to those with our condition monitoring tier products. Excuse me. And down here at the bottom next to the number 3, it's a little bit off the page. When you have the mobile app open, you have to scroll up a little bit to see this, but it says My Work Orders. This feature enables users to create work orders and assign them to teammates, and is available with our Fluke Connect asset tier. Now you'll also notice there's 2 different areas with blue text available. Under the first area, capture measurements, if you click that link, it will provide you with a list of Fluke Connect enabled devices. So those 80 different tools that I mentioned were Fluke Connect enabled. If you want to double check to make sure your tool will work with our software, go ahead and click on this area. The second area here where it says view condition monitoring supported devices, this will provide you with the complete list of the condition monitoring products. I just like to point this out because we really, at this point, we have 2 products that work with our condition monitoring tier of software. That's the 3540 FC power monitor and the vibration gateway and sensor products, which are the 3502 FC and the 3561 FC. Customers call in and write into us in technical support all the time asking to get a license for their 1736 FC, their 1738 FC, the 1746 FC, or the 1748 FC. And none of those models work with the top tier condition monitoring software. They do work with the free Fluke Connect measurements app. So you can absolutely use those different products because they are FC enabled and will work with the free Fluke Connect measurement software, but they don't work with the condition monitoring software. So you don't need a license. There's no need to contact us. You can just go ahead and plug in your 1736 FC and start using it with the free Fluke Connect measurement software. So next, I will cover the 3 main steps of connecting your tool to the Fluke Connect mobile app. So the first step is to log into the Fluke Connect mobile app, and that will take you to the home page. And then what I recommend you do is set down your phone, then move on to step number 2, which is to grab your tool. And in this case, we have a 376 FC clamp meter. And next, I want you to turn on the tool. So make sure that you spun the dial in this case to turn on the tool. And after that, what I want you to do is press the Fluke Connect button on the tool itself. Now what this does, this Fluke Connect button here on the tool turns on the Bluetooth functionality on the tool itself so that it's going to be broadcasting information. So once that Bluetooth button has been pushed, you'll see on the display of the tool Sometimes it's here, sometimes it's over in the upper left-hand corner, but it looks like a little fan icon. It matches the display here, and that tells you that you have in fact successfully turned on the Bluetooth functionality on your tool and it's broadcasting, and that is what enables you to connect your Fluke Connect mobile app to the tool, the hardware itself. So you go back, so step number 3 is you go back to your Fluke Connect mobile app on your phone, and remember, we want to tap the top section that says connect and capture measurements, because that's what we're doing. We're going to connect to the tool and capture measurements from the tool. So we tap on that section. And once we do that, all of the Fluke Connect enabled tools that have Bluetooth turned on will appear on this list. Now, I have several tools here with me right now, but none of the tools are turned on and none of them have the Bluetooth functionality turned on. If I had my T3000 FC turned on, you would see that in this list. If I had my 1664 FC installation tester, you would have that turned on as well. So just remember that you need to press the blue or the little Bluetooth button here, the Fluke Connect button, to activate the Bluetooth functionality, then tap capture measurements, and then tap the tool that you want to connect to. So in this case, it's the 376FC, and that will bring us to this screen, which you'll see here that I'm connected to one 376FC, and I can see the reading on the Fluke Connect mobile app is negative 0.4 amps. That's the same exact reading that I'm seeing on the tool as well, a negative 0.4 amps. Now at this point, we can record this, so we can press the little record button here on the app, and it'll take a recording of the data that we see on the tool. Now the maximum storage limit for that recording is 10 minutes. So just that's good to keep in mind when we do that, so we don't take up time on your, or rather we don't take up data on your cell phone. And we can also save readings in the app, so we can press the little yellow save button down here at the bottom to save the readings. We can do a share live reading where we contact a member of our team to show him what we're seeing on our Fluke Connect mobile app so that he can see it, whether he's out in the river fishing or if he's back at the office or somewhere else in the factory or at another customer site. You can do the share live feature to connect with a teammate to ask for permission to say, fix the issue. And last but not least, you can download readings. So any readings that I've taken on my tool or logged on my tool, I can download those to the Fluke Connect mobile app, where they will then get uploaded to the cloud, or I can access them 24/7 from any web-enabled device. So at this point, we've connected our Fluke Connect mobile app to our tool and taken a reading here. So the next thing we do, this is just a gigantic blow up of what we just saw just a moment ago. At this point, we want to click the save button because this information is live from the tool, but we want to save it and capture it and store it in our Fluke Connect account. So once we do that, you'll see that here's the reading that we just took, negative 0.4 amps. We took that reading on April 14th, 2020, and it also gives us the timestamp. So it's date and time stamped. Now, if we still had our free 1-year trial version of Assets, or if we'd purchased the Asset tier of software, you'll notice that the padlock next to the word Asset is unlocked because that means that feature is available for use. So I could take this reading and assign it to an asset, say the motor, that rooftop HVAC motor that I just connected to and got the data from. I might want to store this information with that asset. I could also assign it to a work order. Maybe I was dispatched to fix this problem, so I might want to track my information and the data that I captured in a work order. Again, work orders are part of the Fluke Connect Assets tier software, and because I have access to that tier, that padlock appears unlocked. Right now, these two are currently unassigned, so I haven't done that. I could also type in a note here, so maybe I want to point out, Larry, I just want you to see here that the reading is not what we expected. It's a little higher than we expected, and you can make your observations here on the recording, and they'll be saved into the your Fluke Connect account, and you'll be able to see those at a later time. You can also add a voice note. So if you're not able to type or your hands are all dirty, you might just want to click the voice note button and you can make a recording that will be attached to this measurement. And down here at the bottom, next to the number 6, you can see the universal share icon. So if I wanted to email this information to somebody, I could do so, whether it's someone in my team or someone outside of my team. Maybe it's the customer. I want them to see this information. So I can just click this little button and send an email, just like you saw in the video a moment ago. Whatever you do though, after you've taken your actions on this particular reading, you want to make sure to click the yellow save button here in order to save this reading to your account. So now, if you remember from our Fluke data flow chart at the beginning of this section, the measurement reading will be saved locally on your mobile phone until your phone connects to a cell signal or a Wi-Fi signal. Then that data will get synced to the Fluke Connect cloud. This is why the Fluke Connect mobile app even works in elevator shafts or out in oil fields, because the data is stored locally on the phone until it reconnects to a signal, and then it's uploaded to the cloud. Now, once the data is in the Fluke Connect cloud, you can use the web app to view the same data that is on your phone. So here you can see this is the reading we just took, dated 4/13/20. This is the same exact reading. Oh, it looks like there are different readings, but in any case, this would be the reading that you would see on the web app as well. Here you can see a previous reading that we took. It was a log file that we took from our 376, and that information was uploaded to the cloud, and now it's visible in the web app. Got downloaded back to the web app. So keep in mind that this process works for 80 different Fluke Connect enabled tools, not just the 376 FC clamp meter that you're seeing here. So the last slide showed you how measurement readings were synced from our 376 FC clamp meter, and the process will work the exact same way for thermal images that you see here. The only difference is that thermal images are also synced to and available in the Fluke Connect desktop software. So here's a thermal image we took with our TI-480. It looks like it's an image of a motor. Once we've saved that image, that data will connect to either a cell signal or a Wi-Fi signal, go to the cloud, and be stored in your account. So the next time you log into the web app, you'll be able to see the same exact thermal image as you see on your phone. Here you can see the date and time stamps are the same, 12/3/18, 12/3/18, 151. That information is also stored in the Fluke Connect desktop. You can see here it says syncing files, so that data gets synced from the cloud down to my local desktop, and this is the same exact image that we're looking at here. You can see here. Now, the Fluke Connect desktop software was designed to be used primarily for thermal images, like I mentioned at the beginning of the presentation. Here, you're looking at the editor screen on the Optimize tab, where you can change the palette. So here we're in the thermal image editor. This is the Optimize tab, and we have the ability to change the palette of this thermal image, the saturation, the emissivity, or the background temperature, or we can even enter a transmission rating or information here. You can also change the scale that you see here next to the number 3. So you can adjust the scale. You can use the auto scale, or you can adjust it the way you want. And that's exactly what someone did here. All of the different information, they narrowed the span so much that all the other different temperatures on the screen just drop to the background, so you can strictly focus on the asset itself, the motor, and you can see the different temperature ratings that way. It's very cool, and of course this desktop software is 100% free. Next, once you've edited your thermal images, you'll want to create a report to show off to your boss or your customer, right? So here's what a reporting option looks like. On the left, next to the number 1, these are the different pages in our report. And you can see right now down here at the bottom, it says we're on page 2 of 8. So we're actually looking at this page, which, yep, that checks out, that matches up. But if we wanted to, we could go back and click on the first page here, which would be our title page. We could enter a custom logo, maybe for our company, and the customers, if it's a home inspection, maybe a picture of their home on the front page. We can enter a summary of what our findings are for the report. We might want to put that on the front page. we can go ahead and make any changes we want. Then next, we want to move on to like the meat and potatoes section of the report, which will show all of our thermal images. Here in the upper left-hand corner, you can see the thermal image itself. Next to the thermal image, we've chosen to display the visible light image. And down below that, we've got image information, so the name of the file, the emissivity setting, the background temperature, a whole bunch of different data that applies to this specific thermal image. Below that, we've got marker information. So we've got a center point, a center box, hot and cold points. All that data is available on this particular thermal image. So what we want to do, I'm going to skip number 2 for a minute to come down to number 3. We choose what we display in these tables based on the options we check over here. So you can see under measurement info, I've got name checked, so that checks out. I've got the name of the image file there. I've got emissivity checked, that checks out. I've got emissivity appearing in this chart as well. Now, there's going to be information that's important to you, like temperature, the name, maybe the name of the file, and that type of information. But there's also going to be information like the DSP version. Well, unless I'm a thermographer, I probably don't know what that is, and your customer and your boss may not know. So you may want to take that off of the table. So in order to do that, you would want to deselect that. That's down below here. But the other thing that is common, just as a note here, people generally do want to display the notes for their thermal images. Those are the notes that you would have entered previously, either in the web app or the mobile app. So you would go ahead and check the checkbox here for those notes to appear. That way your observations about the thermal image will actually appear in the report. Now, coming back to the number 2, these are the images that we've selected to have in our report. So these are all the different files that we want to have in our report. Now, if I wanted to change the order or the sort order that they're displayed in the report itself, I simply would need to click on one of the little blocks here and click with the left mouse button, hold down the left mouse button and drag the image into a new location, depending upon where you want to put it. So maybe I want my 3-cup thermal image to be at the very beginning of the report. I'd left mouse click it, drag it, it would go all the way to the top, and then I could have it at the very beginning of my report. Again, the Fluke Connect desktop software is completely free. This is all available from within the Fluke Connect measurements tier of the software, which is the free tier of the software. So that completes the Fluke Connect data flow walkthrough. So you've kind of seen it full circle. You take your tool, you capture a measurement, you wait for the data to sync to the cloud. In this case, it happens to be a thermal image, so the data is also downloaded to our Fluke Connect desktop software. So we go in and we edit the images to add markers, important information about the thermal images, and then we come to the Fluke Connect desktop software to create our thermal image report that we can send to our boss or customer. So now I'll show another quick video to demonstrate how Fluke Connect works in action, and then we'll move on so I can show you what Fluke Connect can do for you. So a little bit slow to load today, but here it is. Okay, so you've just seen a high-level overview of Fluke Connect, a couple of videos of how it works in action, and some slides on how the Fluke Connect data flow works in the software. So hopefully you already have several ideas about what Fluke Connect can do for you. But if not, I have a few more slides to show you on what each of the Fluke Connect software tiers can do for you. So we're going to start off with the Fluke Connect measurement software. Remember, this is the software that's 100% free and works with 80 different tools in 11 different categories in 73 different countries. The first feature is wireless one-step measurement capture. And how does this benefit you? Well, it helps you eliminate transcription errors, notebooks, and multiple spreadsheets. It helps you quickly and efficiently capture the data. It helps you take live readings of energized circuits and operational equipment from a safe distance, like you saw in the first video. The second feature is saving a measurement. Saved measurements are securely stored in the cloud. That data is available 24/7 from any web-enabled device, so you always have access to your data. And the data helps you identify and diagnose problems quickly and confidently. You're not scrambling to find the notebooks or the spreadsheets. If you're working from home for any reason, you don't have to worry about running back to the factory to get the data that's on the notebooks or the multiple spreadsheets, because it's all securely stored in the cloud where you can access it from any web-enabled device, including your computer at home. And last but not least, the third feature is the ability to share measurements. You can stay in contact with your team without leaving the field using the Share Live video chat like you saw in the video, the first video. You can access your data anytime from any web-enabled device and export data in CSV, Excel, or JPEG formats via email. So just like you saw in the last section, here are some screenshots of what data from a T3000 FC looks like in the mobile app and the web app. So here we've got a log file from the T3000 FC, date and time stamped. This is that same log file from the T3000 FC, date and time stamped. Below that, we've got some additional single snapshot readings that we took from our T3000. You can see that those match up here. Remember, all the data is stored on the mobile app. Until we reconnect to either a cell signal or a Wi-Fi signal, then it uploads it to the Fluke Connect cloud, where it's available from any web-enabled device. So this is similar to what you just saw, but instead of the T3000 FC reading, we are looking at a thermal image. So I've added the desktop option. You can see that here's the thermal image on our mobile app. Here's what the thermal image looks like in our web app. And then last but not least, here's what the thermal image would look like in our desktop software. We happen to be in the image editor, so you can see the image here, where we can go in and make changes to things like palette, emissivity, etc. And remember, this is all 100% free still. So you have access to 3 different applications, mobile, web, and desktop, and 80 different tools that connect to this free software to capture data electronically for you. So next up is the Fluke Connect Assets tier. So this is that middle tier of software that we're talking about at this point. Remember, this software comes with a 1-year free trial before you have to start paying for it. So if you have assets to manage, why not sign up for your free trial account now just to poke around and see what it's like? The first feature in the Assets tier is the ability to add, edit, and delete assets, asset groups, and asset subgroups. So you can organize assets the way you want, by plant, by building, or by type, whatever works for you. And trust me, I've seen a lot of customer accounts. I've seen it done a lot of different ways, including by type. One person had all of their motors in one asset group and all of their fans in one asset group and all of their pumps in one asset group. So they divided them that way. That's what worked for them. That's what made sense to them. So that's what they used. You can also store asset data for more than one company. So many of the people I work with are vendors that contract with multiple companies. And the flexibility of our asset management software is that it enables you to create different asset groups to keep company data separate. So if I'm working with, say, IBM is my customer and Nike is my other customer, I can have different asset groups, one for IBM, one for Nike, so all of their data is stored separately from each other. You can use our software to start your first maintenance program with asset management. Just dip your toe in the water and give it a try. The second feature is the ability to assign asset measurements to assets. Think of how great it would be to have all of your inspection data stored in one place and assigned to the asset. So you have your 374 clamp meter readings, your T3000 FC temperature readings, all for an asset in the same location. Having a single view of all of the data will help you identify and diagnose problems more quickly because you'll have a more comprehensive view of the asset. You will also be able to track asset health over time. The third feature is adding, editing, and deleting work orders. So you can eliminate all of the paperwork and go digital in terms of your work orders. This will help you increase productivity by reducing mistakes and duplication of effort. It will provide you with real-time tracking through regular updates during the process. So you'll be able to see when your tech has made it to the site, the customer site, and started work. And you'll also be able to see when he's finished his work. So if you need to, you can reroute him from that point. Maybe he's finished a job early. You can see that in the system so that you'd be able to reroute him to a different location. So here are some screenshots of what the assets would look like in the mobile app and the web app. So here you can see we're looking at plant 1 on both cases. And here we see boiler 1, chiller 1, and compressor 1. We've got the same information here. Plant 1, boiler 1, chiller 1, compressor 1. And this is the web app. You can see why we would recommend using the web app to manage your assets as opposed to the mobile app. Obviously, the assets need to be accessible from the mobile app. If you wanted to assign measurements to an asset while you're out in the field, you can do that using the mobile app. But in terms of managing your assets or creating assets and reviewing the web graphs and things, those are the things you want to do from the web app. So like I said, best practices is to sit down at your computer and open up the web app, then start creating all of your assets or asset groups there instead of trying to do that on the tiny phone. All that typing will drive you crazy. Another best practice option that we recommend is to import all of your assets using our Excel template. So maybe you have 200 assets and you're like, I don't want to sit down and type in all those 200 assets. Well, great news, you do not have to. You can use our Excel template. You need to make sure it's formatted properly so that the data gets imported correctly. But once you do that, you can avoid all the typing of having to build all of your assets using the web browser. So one of the most valuable parts of the Fluke Connect assets is to be able to discern the health of your assets by tracking measurements over time. So here we've got an asset we're going to review. We're looking at the asset called motor. It's a motor asset in plant 1. So I would go to plant 1, I would click on the motor asset, and from there it would take me to this part of the data. Now after I get to that, after I double click that information to get to the motor asset, you can see over here I'm looking at the motor asset. I want to click on the option here in the top that says save data. What that will do is that will show me all of the data that I've saved and associated to this particular asset called motor. So I've got, here's one T3000 FC reading, here's another T3000 FC reading, here's a couple of 376 FC readings. So maybe I walk a weekly route, and on that route I'll take a temperature reading and I'll take a amp reading and I take some additional information. If I scroll down here, I would be able to see all of the data from all of the tools that I associated to this particular asset called motor under the Save Data tab. So, okay. There we go. After we've looked at the Save Data, we may want to look at the Analysis tab. So we've moved from the Save Data tab to the Analysis tab. What the Analysis tab does is, if we've taken multiple readings from the same type of tool, say in this case it's a thermal imager, those different readings will appear here, so that we can scroll through in a carousel view of what those thermal image readings would look like. So again, if we're running a route and every week we go out and take the same, thermal image for our motor asset, that information is going to be displayed here. And what will happen is, if you have more than one reading from the same type of tool, like in this case, it was a thermal imager, so we were able to plot the temperature readings from the thermal imager in a graph view. Here we've got readings from our 376 FC clamp meter, so we've got amps that we've taken over time. In this case, you can see there's only 2 data points, so but it's enough to plot on a graph. And down here we've got degrees Fahrenheit from our T3000 FC, and again, it's only 2 data points. Now, what happens when you have only one data point? Maybe I've taken my T3000 FC out there and I've only taken one reading. Well, you can't plot a graph with a single data point. So you're going to get a message that says not enough data. That just means that you need to get another T3000 FC reading for that particular asset and assign it to that asset so that you can see the graph. So here's, oops, gotten ahead here. What's great about, I'll go back real quick here. What's great about these graphs is the information here can show you trends to help you more accurately determine the health of your asset, right? You've got multiple readings from multiple tools all in one location, so you can take this information, analyze it, and check the trends on the asset itself. Once you've reviewed the data trends on the Analysis tab, you can move to the Status tab. So that's another one of the tabs here for this particular asset. And you can make adjustments to the health status of your asset. Maybe you see the temperature readings getting hotter from the thermal images that you've taken in the T3000 FC. So you may want to change your asset. It was previously a status of good. It was healthy at one point back on this date, June 19th, 2020 at 5:41. The status, I rated the asset health as good, but now after reviewing the information on my Analysis tab, I may want to change the status or downgrade it from good to satisfactory. So the status has gone from green to yellow, which is satisfactory. Now the system automatically notes my username and the date and time of when I've changed the health status of this particular asset. And this is the comment that I added. I said, look, the asset's running a little bit hot, so we're going to downgrade the status so that if anybody else comes in to look at why I did that, I've got a little explanation there. Think of how valuable this information might be to your manager or customer. You've got all of the cold hard facts about the health of their assets. I'm looking at the motor asset. I've gone in, I've looked at the save data, the actual cold hard data that's in the readings. I've used the analysis page to check the trends, the graphs, and now I'm able to determine the appropriate status for the health of the asset. Okay, the Fluke Connect Assets tier of software also includes work order management features. And here you can see that we're in the web app and we're looking at the work orders tab. Now, one of the great things about the work orders tab is that here right now you can see I'm viewing all work orders, but you can see this little down arrow. That's an option that enables me to toggle between all work orders and my work orders. So maybe I'm, a supervisor or team lead, so I want to and need to manage all of the work orders for the team, but I also have my own work orders that I'm responsible for completing. So in the morning, I can come in, get my cup of coffee, and review the work orders for everyone on the team. Excuse me. Then I'll toggle over to my work orders to figure out what my task list is for the day. Under that, I've got the second option here, filter. This filter lets us view data in 2 ways. I can view the work orders by status. So there's 4 different statuses available for work orders: closed, open, in progress, and completed. And or I can filter by priority, high, standard, and low. Now here, what you'll notice off to the left is that there's different colors. These are the statuses. So if it's gray, it means it's completed. If it's yellow, it's in progress. And if it's blue, it's open. So at a quick glance here, I can see, what the status is for all my work orders. Over here on the very far right, you'll see priority. So I've got green, which is a low priority work order. I've got red, which is a high priority work order. And I've got yellow, which is a medium priority work order. But here you can see the work order number. This is a unique number generated from our system. And you can create, this is a free-form text field that you can put anything into. Like I've got boiler troubleshooting, and then I've included the steps for my technician to complete. Fan repair, motor troubleshooting. Here's an inspection, maybe a preventive maintenance work order. So a rooftop AC inspection that I want to do once a year before, it starts getting hot. These are the different types of work orders: planned, unplanned, unassigned. You can see here under assignee, this is the person who is assigned the work order. So my demo account is called Riley Russell. So I've got a couple of work orders assigned to me, and this is my teammate Travis. So he's got a work order he's got to complete. This is the scheduled date for the work order. These are the actual start and completion dates and times for when the work was started and completed. So it's funny because it's an extremely simple software to use. It's very easy to just log in and start playing around and figuring it out. You don't really need any instructions, but it's amazingly powerful in all the different categories and information that it provides you. So, and again, this is part of the Fluke Connect Assets tier software. So next up is the top tier, or the Fluke Connect Condition Monitoring tier. Now, unlike the lower two software only tiers, this tier does include hardware in addition to the software, and does require a purchase of either the 3540 FC power monitor or the 3502 and 3561 vibration gateway and sensors. When you purchase the hardware, the first year of the software subscription is included, but you will need to renew that software subscription after the first year. So the first feature is remote monitoring of asset data. So we've got that here in the blue. First, remote monitoring of asset data. This gives you always on monitoring of assets. No more maintenance routes, just set up your remote monitoring equipment and view the data from anywhere in the world using a web connected device. It improves safety because you can set up our equipment in dangerous areas or remote locations, and it helps you reduce labor costs by automating data collection. You set up our always on remote monitoring, so you no longer need to send a technician out to collect data separately, because you've got it on automated monitoring. The second feature is graphs and historical data. So trending of continuous data allows for monitoring over time. So you can see if the voltage is steadily going up as opposed to taking individual readings. You can just watch it on the graphs from your remote monitoring. You can also identify the root cause faster by comparing measurements over time. Now, the third feature is the ability to send alarms as push notifications when measurements go outside of a threshold. So if something goes wrong in the middle of the night, you can get an alarm notification so you can take action to prevent costly repairs or downtime. You can specify who gets the alarms as well, whether they go out to just you or the entire team. But a lot of those alarms are user configurable. So on our 3540 FC power monitor, if the voltage goes over, say 40, you may want to be notified. So you can set that as a parameter. There's a lot of different you can do if it goes over, if it's under, if it's outside of a certain range, if it's inside of a certain range. There's all different types of alarms that you can set. So here are some of the screenshots of what the remote condition monitoring graphs look like from the mobile app. These are from our 3540 FC power monitor. So you can see that this says Fluke 3540 FC. This is the view that we're looking at. We're reading the volts information, and you can see here's the color-coded graph. So what's great about our graph on our mobile app is that it's color-coded. So it's hard to see, but there are actually 3 different lines there. There's a black line, a red line, and a blue line. And those lines are all plotted here on the graph or the chart. Next up, next to the number 2, you can see alarms and system alerts. So right here, if I wanted to, if there were any alarms or system alert conditions, I can click the show button and I'd be able to see what's going on. So if the voltage has gone out of range, I would want to know about that. So I've set a system alarm for that. Now, system alerts are things like, say the power goes out at the factory, our 3540 is plugged into power supply. So if the power goes out, we're going to notify you that that's what's happened. And we do have a backup battery so that our product will continue to run for a few hours after the power goes out. But it is good to know because that way you can take action and get it plugged into another power source or get to the plant and make sure that the power is on. Now, next to the number 3, we've got actual data. So here are the actual voltage readings. Graphs are great because they give you the ability to see trends, but actual readings are also good if you're very detail oriented. You might want to see the actual reading on the chart itself. And here on the third view here is just a way that we can show you that the graphs and the actual data can all be visible at the same time. So here's some screenshots of what the remote condition monitoring graphs look like from the web app. So you'll notice that the first two here look very similar to the ones from the mobile app. We've got the graph display, we've got the actual data here. And in addition to that, I've thrown in a couple of extra here so that you can see that you can export session data in a lot of different varieties here. You can choose your frequency, the start and end date, and you can decide whether you want it to be exported as an Excel file or a CSV file. So if you want the actual raw data for all the different data points on this graph, you can export that information. And here's what that would look like. Here's a display of what that data is going to look like. So this is the dashboard screen of someone that has the Fluke Connect condition monitoring products. You can see next to the number 1 in this particular account that the recent alarms, there are 4 recent alarms. Just below that, these are the different alarm conditions. So this is the name of the asset that had the alarm condition. So it was mixer 1, bearing 2, bearing 1. So we could go in and drill into these alarm conditions and look more closely to see what's going on. Next to the number 2, we've got facility asset health status. So assets are grouped by status. So this is all of the assets that are in a good or a green condition. These are satisfactory, these are unsatisfactory, and these are unacceptable. And these are undetermined. So we haven't gone in and set an asset status, but you can see of our 13 assets, we only have a few that are in the green category. So we might want to investigate that. And then over here, next to the number 3, we've got the facility asset health trend. So this gives us a date range. So for this date range, we had this many assets that were unacceptable, this many that were unsatisfactory, and so on. So you can kind of see a trend. Like here you would want to see more green, right? Less red and less orange, more green. But given that assets, start to malfunction as they get older, it's more likely that they're going to get more orange and red going forward. So as you've just seen, the Fluke Connect software has different tiers available. And each level has an additional set of features that comes with it, but you can select the tier or plan that fits your needs best. So at the beginning or at the bottom, we've got Fluke Connect measurements, which enables you to connect your tools to our Fluke Connect software. This is 100% free. This tier is 100% free. So you can use this tier to wirelessly capture measurements, save measurements, and share measurements. The next level up is the Fluke Connect Assets level, which normally costs $250 a year, but is free for 1 year if you sign up now. Now this level includes all of the measurement features, so everything you can do here, plus it gives you the ability to add, edit, and delete assets, asset groups, and asset subgroups. It gives you the ability to assign measurement data to assets to track asset health over time, and it gives you the ability to add, edit, and delete work orders and assign status, priority, and type for those work orders. And last, we've got the top tier, which is Fluke Connect Condition Monitoring, which gives you the ability to monitor your equipment using one of 2 hardware options. Right now, it's the 3540 FC Power Monitor or the Fluke Connect Vibration Sensors. So it's the 3502 FC gateway and the 3561 FC sensor. And this level gives you all of the abilities available in the measurements tier, and the assets tier, plus the ability to do condition monitoring, which is remote monitoring capability with alarms to notify you of any potential issues. So If you're interested in what you've seen so far and you don't already have an account set up, why not go ahead and create your account today? Remember, you would get your 1 year free of Fluke Connect assets to try it out and see if you like it. And then just grab one of the 80 different Fluke Connect enabled tools and start capturing data and assigning it to assets. Here are the instructions of setting up your own account. You can do it either from the mobile app, in which you can go to the App Store for iOS devices or the Google Play Store for Android devices. If you do that, be sure to search on the phrase Fluke Connect. There are several different Fluke software apps out there, and you want to be able to use the Fluke Connect app. So you'll look for this little logo as well. Once you see that logo, you can tap the install button to install the software on your app, and from there you can create an account using your email address. Or if you prefer, you can do this on the web app. Go to flukeconnect.com and click the middle option here where it says create new account. Click the blue sign up button and create an account using your email address. Now, one new feature we just recently added that many customers, many customers asked about. They said, hey, I don't want to create an account. I just want to test this software out. Well, guess what? Now in the mobile app, we have something called guest access. So you don't even need to create an account. You can go ahead and click guest access, grab your 376 FC clamp meter, what have you, any one of the 80 different Fluke Connect enabled tools, and use the guest access to save the readings from your tools in your Fluke Connect mobile app. Now keep in mind, because you don't have an account, the data does not get synced to the cloud. It's just stored locally on your phone only. So if you decide to keep going, you want to save your data, you want to access it from the web app and everywhere else, you want to go ahead and create an account. So now you've seen an overview of Fluke Connect and how data flows through the various tools and software. Here are some other Fluke Connect resources or where information can be found. You can go to our fluke.com website, click products and click Fluke Connect to see more about Fluke Connect itself. You could go to the Fluke Connect workshop videos link, which is here. I've done 8 other of these web workshops, so there's other information out there that you might want to view. If you're interested in getting a product demo or purchasing the Fluke Connect condition monitoring suite of products, you can talk to our sales department. Here's their number, or you can email them at sales@excelix.com. And last but not least, if you're already a customer and you've got our app or our desktop software and you need help or have questions, you can contact them at 425-200-0080 or Fluke Connect support at fluke.com. So that concludes the presentation portion of our 9th Fluke Connect workshop. Tomorrow, you will all be receiving an email thanking you for attending. It will include a link to this presentation, a recording of this presentation that you can review or share with other people. And it also will include a link to register for the next Fluke Connect workshop, which will be held on Thursday, February 25th, where I will be covering Fluke Connect Teams. Also, at the conclusion of the session, you will be asked to provide feedback on the presentation in a short survey. Please take a moment to do so. We do appreciate your feedback and do read all of your comments. I will be taking questions now, and as a reminder, please keep questions to the topic we just covered. If you have questions or your questions don't get answered during this last little section here, feel free to contact our technical support team at Fluke Connect Support at fluke.com. That's all one word, Fluke Connect Support at fluke.com, or call them at 425-200-0080. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and stop the recording.